What's going on, guys? My name is Voss, and I'm back with my friend Josh, and mechanic, and he runs Craft and Auto Care, which would have been there, but right now they're doing some work. And we're back on the 98 Porsche Boxster rebuild series, and we're gonna work on today getting kind of the supercharger components off in the front, and then next time that should give us pretty much a clean straight shot to getting that engine out, right?
Yep. We're gonna go up top. We're gonna mess around with some of the stuff up top, make sure fuel lines, vacuum lines, all that stuff's disconnected, and go up underneath and hopefully drop that supercharger out today. And the next time we should be dropping the engine out if all goes well.
All right, so I'm gonna quit talking and let's just get to it. Okay, so we're about probably another half hour or so in. The bolts for this charge tube are slowly coming out, but as you can tell, this is a pretty much jumbled mess. So right now we're working on getting this intake manifold and the rest of these things off.
Yeah, we'll get the intake manifold off with the fuel rails, get all the fuel lines off. Once we get that out of the way, then we'll start working on the charge pipe and the air intake pipe, and from there it's going to be bell housing bolts and wiring harness and drop this thing out.
So on a regular Boxster, I don't think it would have been this bad to get the engine out, but because this is supercharged, there's a whole nother component that makes an already tight space pretty much have no room for hands anywhere. So I think that's kind of just working through getting all that done and getting all that out.
So we have got intake is pretty much loose and ready to come up. There's a couple electrical connectors that we got to deal with and figure out how all that stuff's routed. Got one fuel line over here on this side for the fuel rail to get undone, and then figure out how we're going to move these shifter cables here around the intake. We may have to separate the two intake sides from this middle. But other than that, the intake's about ready to come up. Once that's up, then it's just going to be wiring, go underneath supercharger.
We're still hoping to do that and try to get that charge tube out, right?
Yes,
that's the plan.
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay, so we started taking up the truck and kind of the whatever you call this, brains blanket.
Yeah, it's just the carpet covering pad. You know, it just covers up all the nastiness that is the wiring.
Possibly an animal has been living in here for some time, but even cooler than that, we found what would be the module for the supercharger.
Yeah. So there's some flakes in there of something, probably paint, looks like. But
that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, and then
how does that work?
So we got this guy. So the way that this thing works, this is basically its own little built-in module, and it's tied in with some ground wires, some power wires, and then I would assume these other wires right here. Let's see here. We've got a gray that goes in here, this black that's fused with a 20 amp fuse, and then we've got this little deal here, which this is actually a map sensor right here Ironically enough, if you look up top, sure enough,
GM.
I am too big of a GM fan. I knew that was a GM mass airflow. So this is what they call a 3-wire map sensor, and that's done when anytime you have a boosted application, you have to have a 3-wire or like a 2 or 3 bar style map sensor so that it can read a negative pressure, it can read an absolute 0 pressure, and it can also read a positive pressure like a boosted scenario would be. So that's what will help run this box, and this box here, basically you can see.
Can you set things on the fly, or is it more you just set it up and go?
This is 1998 technology. There was no setting on the fly or buttons or anything with this. All this is going to do here is make sure that you don't run the engine lean, and make sure that that engine is well protected with that additional fuel injector that is installed on that intake, which we saw in the earlier video. And we actually took that piece out today, that injector. Actually, it's laying right here. This is the injector that is ran off of that box. So, and that just taps right into the fuel rail on the passenger side.
Fun times.
Yeah. Well, that's a good find there. So at least if you have any issues with that, or if we run it lean or find anything like that going on, we know where to look for the wiring. And map sensor, that's going to be on the shelf anywhere to buy. That's probably a $25–30 part.
It has GM written on it.
Yeah, you take that thing in, it'll have part number on it. They'll be able to get you another one, no problem. You left one exhaust manifold bolt in over here. Yeah. I was looking like, what else do we need to take off? I was like, oh, there's an extra exhaust manifold bolt. Well, that explains all of it.
No, my bad. Where we're at, the charge tube's out, some of the components are out, the middle section's still in, but we'll get that next time. We're pretty much coming to an end today. Again, I know it doesn't look like a lot's going on. This took 4 hours, because I mean there's such little space in here, and then there's bolts down below that you can't even get your hands on, and we don't have, I don't even know if there's tools that exist for it. So
well, basically, if we were in a different circumstance where we had like the wheel lock key, which is a problem for us right now with this car, which we're gonna work through later on.
Find something.
Yeah, that we would probably take the wheel off. There's a crossbar on this side that we probably could take off. Another suspension component that if we took that off, all of this stuff would be really easy to get to with the supercharger. But we're also only working on this thing a couple hours here and there, pushing it in and out, so it needs to be mobile, so it's to our advantage to leave it together.
Yeah.
So it is taking a little bit longer, but the supercharger routing and all of this stuff is pretty complex, and we need to be careful about the way it goes back together. So taking it apart is just taking a little bit of time, but hopefully in the next segment, about 4 to 6 hours, I would think we should be able to get
next sit down should be a engine out, supercharger, the whole shebang.
Yeah, it should
start in the morning. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap this video, guys. Make sure you check out Crafton Auto Care here in Dayton, Ohio, if you need any work done. If you are in the area, this will be outside, so you can come see it. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later.